there's more than just the small town that I was abused in. Like, that's what I've learned. And I just wanted to understand because I was so confused for so long. And I say confusion, it's literally like question marks over my head. I'd be treated like, I am not smart because I was uneducated with so many things. I had to educate myself. I literally had to like start from rock bottom and work myself up with barely any help along the way. And I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where, but literally I just did it. Like if I had to, work, I would find a job even if it's like 2 hours away by foot, or I would walk there. I would figure it. I would always hustle. So I don't know. I just did what I had to do. I don't know where it came from, honestly. I just did it.
You've switched jobs now. So can you talk a little bit about your work history and how, because I see that as a bit of a reflection of your moving into a more recovered space. So can you just talk a little bit about what you were doing and the transitions you've been making in that regard?
Yeah, I was a barista for like 9 years or something like that, so I can make fun little drinks. I'm very confident in my abilities with that. I love coffee. I love all that stuff. I like being creative. My favorite thing about, being a barista was like making something so crazy and chaotic that I would bring the coffee or whatever out to the customer and they would go, ooh, whoa, look at that. It's like the biggest honor ever. So I would do that, and, I worked toxic jobs also, which, I feel like
toxic, like in what way or why?
Yeah, just abusive by the bosses. I feel like work PTSD isn't talked about enough. Like literally, like I would have nightmares about these places because, one place in particular, like the boss threw coffee pots at the wall and like they shattered because he got angry, slamming things, and it's like very triggering to have things, slam and just be angry and have to walk on eggshells, so I don't upset my boss over little minuscule things. So literally it was 2 back-to-back awful jobs. Like, and for a while people were like, maybe it's you. No, it wasn't, I promise. They were just awful people.
Did you know that always from the start?
No, I would try to separate it, when they're not there it's perfect, but when they're there it's awful. But I just loved what I did. I needed money, people suffer, but I also was like, well, this is life, pain. But now I work somewhere else. And
do you feel like you're currently in a toxic workspace?
No. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. But I'm just, left the one of them when my mom died. They made me come to work 3 hours later. So, and it was 1 a.m. I also, I worked early out, it's a coffee shop, you be there early. So they made me come in 3 hours early, and so that was awful. And then they tried to make me stay later. I'm just like, and they said, oh, you still have a father. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, well, I don't, actually. I don't talk to him, but yeah, awful. Wow. Yeah, when I say awful, they're awful.
I don't mean to be like, oh my God, but Jesus.
Yeah, so
Christ.
That's how, So I left there because of that. And then just, I don't know, I would have breakdowns, and I was like, every December, I don't know, maybe it's the seasonal, shift or whatever, but I would be in the hospital from just depressed. I literally wouldn't be like, we'll look both ways crossing the street. So, and I would be like, I need a few days, or I would try to can I have, 4 days instead of 6 days? They're like, you're being so selfish, and I'm like, I literally wanted to die. I literally was cutting myself again, I was doing all that stuff. So I just needed to leave. I can't go to work, and wondering why I'm not getting better, with my trauma and stuff when I'm being traumatized at work, ironically.
How long did it take you to realize that?
Since getting diagnosed, probably. I would say that helped a lot because it's I was on a path of self-discovery and then getting to the root of, okay, I have the diagnosis. What can I make changes on? Okay, that's, clearly being called useless and stupid and, me feel like I'm not good enough. That's not going to help. So just kind of cutting ties with anything toxic. And, even though, I'm a little toxic to other people and myself, but, that's the point of improving myself.
Sure.
So,
It sounds like you're actually like you're moving out of toxic workspaces. So
Yeah.
you think currently you're not actively in one to the best of your
No,
knowledge.
but even if like all jobs suck, let's be honest, all jobs suck, but if I'm gonna be at an awful job, I want to make some money. But like in a way out the bad, not being dirt poor, behind on rent, behind on this, because that's another stress to anyone's life. I mean, but I used to say I'm too broke to get help. I think what was difficult, with BPD and me, it's like I didn't have a safety net to go back onto. I don't have family really to rest on their couch or the spare bedroom for a month, and I didn't have time. I always had to work, I always had to hustle, and then I was in awful relationship that really made me feel worse. So I'd go to work, toxic environment, come home, toxic environment, and then it's like I just wish I had that safety net to take a week off, take a month off, to refocus and figure out my goals and where I want to be and what I want to do and my next steps. But I felt like I've been on the go since I've been like out of my mom's house, like working just so I could survive, because no one else is going to take care of me. No one did anyway. But it's difficult to be mentally ill and be working full time and just not having time to prioritize. It's very draining, and I feel like everyone should have that.
Would you go back to college, do you think, or do you? What's
wanted
your
to.
feeling about college?
I've thought
did you
about
think it was
it.
useful?
I don't know. I thought about it for like book editing because I love reading. I love writing, obviously. I don't know. I just kind of just want to be comfortable money-wise.
I agree,
and
yeah.
obviously college is kind of make or break you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just kind of want a job with money because who doesn't? But also, like, I'm impulsive as it is, especially with spending. And people are like, you should treat yourself. I'm like, I treat myself a little too much. Like, I need to calm down. The point is, so if I have like a good paying job with a lot of tips, as a bartender does, I won't be as nervous because, like, I'm not like saying let's enable my impulsivity, but we're working it with what we can here. We're trying to like make things better, small steps. Like, I can only work on 20 things at once. Let's work on the impulsivity. I don't know. Let's like take it one step at a time. So I've literally like done bad things, like made irresponsible purchases, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna screw me over, but it's gonna make me feel good for a few hours, so who cares?
What's an example of a purchase that you've made that's done that?
Like, it could be literally anything by spending like a ridiculous amount on food or clothes or a present for someone else because I want them to like me again. So just flowers, it could be anything, and it's just when I don't have it, like, and it's like these expenses might not seem like a lot, but it could be very like paycheck to paycheck. I don't have leg room to be doing this. Like, literally, like, well, this will put me into negatives, and I just have to pay like a $27 overdraft fee. So that's literally putting myself in the negatives, knowing I'll get an overdraft fee and not caring anyway because I'll feel good for a few hours.
Yeah, not worth it.
It's a high. It's definitely a different kind of high.